Hey y'all, happy middle of the week and Mercury retrograde. Um, if I look crooked, it's because I am. I screw in my tripod, so it won't tighten anymore. I've got you balanced. But and if my dogs go crazy, it's because FedEx came and did a delivery earlier today, and now they're jumpy and barking at leaves, squirrels, butterflies, and everything else. But anyway, Mercury retrograde started appropriately, I suppose, on April Fool's Day, so Monday. You gotta love that. For those who don't know what Mercury retrograde is or the significance of it, it's when the planet itself appears to spin backwards on its axis. Why does that matter, or why is that significant? Because Mercury is the ruling planet of communication, business deals, contracts, and the like. Um, have you ever wondered why you wake up and everything you do fails that day? Or you have a stretch of bad luck for a few days or weeks? Or your computers, your electronics, things just kind of seem to geek for no reason? Most likely, if you look it up, you'll find that Mercury has gone retrograde, as it does a few times a year. And I think 2023 was like a banner year for it. It was more than a couple of weeks at a time in 2023. Um, anyway, it's not advised during retrograde times to enter into any major contracts, sign important papers, or try to have any type of in depth communication about anything. For me, it's usually a hit or miss. I was born under a Mercury retrograde, so supposedly it affects me less than it does people who weren't. But I still see it in the works when it comes to household electronics or conversations that are taken out of context, especially in text or email form. Um, Usually during a retrograde period, if you have a point that you need to make, save your breath and wait until that planet goes direct again, which for this cycle is April 25th, because you're just going to end up being misunderstood if you do it now. And as I mentioned, I usually see the worst of the retrograde reflected in my electronics. Yesterday, my phone kept shutting down, my computer was going crazy, my washer wouldn't spin out, and it's brand new. Um, my printer wouldn't go online. So it was just all day long. I fought with my electronics. But anyway, in light of the retrograde, I thought I'd pull some runes and cards and see what's coming down the pipe for the next few days. Bear in mind, like I said, Mercury, we've got almost the entire month of April is in retrograde. So we're just going to take it a couple days at a time. So, first up with the runes, we have Manez. I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't want to touch my phone. We have Manez, which represents the human aspect. So during this retrograde period, it's better to keep your thoughts and your opinions, if possible, to yourself. Altruism is the key because Mercury rules communication. Expect arguments, misunderstanding, and displays of intense ego to rear up from unexpected sources, too, because it really does affect a lot of our electromagnetic field, which has an effect on our mentality and reactions and stuff like that. But following Manas, we have Uras, which can point to periods of low energy, weak willpower during this retrograde. But stand strong. Mercury energy does not play around. And remember that when we talked about taking time to rest and recalibrate to rethink, reorganize, or reprioritize, this is the perfect time for all of that. If at all possible, don't make any major decisions, commitments, or enter into any long term or long standing contracts or agreements while we're under this retrograde. Sometimes, I know you can't avoid it, but if you can, set those dates or meetings until after the 25th, because while we still see and feel the effects of a Mercury retrograde up to 2 weeks after going direct, the failure rate of negotiations and contracts drops significantly after the initial um, direct date or last day of Mercury retrograde. And then moving on, we have Sigil, which is the rune of victory, clear vision, rest, and achievement. And since it's in the future position and is pretty much the most positive rune of all the runes, I think it's safe to say if you can use this retrograde time as your rest or waiting period, anything you do afterwards is set for success. I really feel like April is going to be a very powerful month for most of y'all, even if these weeks in retrograde make it seem like it's going to be non productive. The last week or so of this month is going to bring fast shifts and rewards for that recalibration time you took at the beginning, if you take it. And then moving on to the cards. We have more of the same pretty much. Starting off with Malkuth, we have some heavy hitting cards that come out of this deck. Malkuth represents the ground or the physical world in which we live or our foundations, and it brings the energy of awareness to our physical bodies and the experience we have in them. So during this retrograde, it's important to shield yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically. Get as much rest as you can, drink lots of water, eat things that nourish your body. This is the time for self-care because planning to do anything else is pretty much going to be a bust. Malkuth reminds us that while we are spiritual beings having a human experience, it's important to focus on the physical body and our physical existence at times. And now is that time. And then after Malkuth, we have Dat card. And it is the energy of emptiness, the null, or the void. And I think that kind of sums up the do not do list for us during this retrograde period. But that is also the energy of rest, just like Malkuth is. Meditation, silence, and sleep. And that we are encouraged to do nothing for the moment except, again, rest, recharge, and keep it zipped. Keep it zipped. Your opportunity to speak up will come. It's just not right now. Following that, we have Samikiel, and it is the sword that severs the unworthy connections that cause us unnecessary hurt or pain, that leads us or inspires us to new beginnings. And remember that Fool card we've gotten a few times recently. I think this Mercury retrograde is going to shake and break a lot of unhealthy relationships or unhealthy situations and put some of us on the path to establishing healthy boundaries and healthier connections going forward. And then lastly, we have Material, which brings the energy of transformation and transference, which I think you might can tie this into our eclipse energy coming up on April 8th also, because it's the angel of awareness, and its energy is like a lightning bolt when it strikes, reminding us that shifts and change are not only inevitable but necessary for our soul's growth. And I'm going to take from this that the end of this eclipse energy and retrograde period will be tower moments for a lot of us. It's both scary and a little bit of exciting, you know, to see what's going to come out in the wash of at the end of it all. So then, our second set of cards, move these down here. Okay, our second set of cards starts with the Prince and the Princess of Wands. I find that very interesting. Wands usually deal with thoughts turned into actions, but because this set started out definitively with the Prince and Princess, I'm going to point this more towards individuals, likely those who are fire signs, Sagittarius, Leos, Aries. But I can also interpret this to mean the rising of both the inner divine male and feminine energies that we all possess, that are taking those thoughts or action plans we've been working on over the course of the last several weeks or months and stepping into that empress or high priestess power to make them come into fruition. Much like the first set of cards we have some heavy hitters coming about here too, where we're being challenged to step into our authoritative selves and get busy making what we want to see happen a reality, which for most of you is a whole new life on the physical. The start of a new journey that inspires a life that is softer, more in touch with our emotions and our spiritualities. And while you know this means that you have to walk away, and remember, we had this one too, which both of them are sword cards. You have to leave or walk away from current situations that have otherwise kept you in a repetitive cycle, where you're kind of chasing your tail. You're ready now to take fate and destiny into your own hands rather than leaving it in the hands of others. And I feel with this Three of Cups showing up, it's a whole new path, a whole new start that puts you in alignment with who you really are and what you really want out of life and your purpose here. Yes, your circle will shrink, but what you will gain is a new understanding, and you'll gain relationships that are based more on depth, mutual respect, and acceptance. So really nothing to do with the Mercury retrograde in this last set, but possibly some of y'all needed the validation of hearing what you're considering doing. These changes that you're considering making is a solid plan. And then crystal cards that will help. Tourmalated quartz. Got some right here. And that is to restore your light. Celestite, right here, to help you tune into serenity. Fluorite, got some of that right here, to sharpen your focus and really hone in on your unique calling here on Earth. And kyanite, right here, to deepen your perspective and to cut through some of the mental noise. And then I'm going to throw in a bonus right quick, and I'm already way over time, but I'm going to throw in a bonus just because I was guided to do so. This little gem here, make sure I got it the right way. Hopefully my phone will focus in on it. Is a Mercury dime, 999 silver. And since the planet Mercury is ruled by, you guessed it, the god Mercury, it may be helpful to get one of these and carry as a talisman during these times in retrograde where you can't avoid making those life-changing deals, signing those big contracts, or having that deep, much-needed, meaningful conversation. It can't hurt. And you can pick these up pretty reasonably online if you're just looking to own one and don't really care about the collector's aspect, because they can get pretty pricey. But anyway, that's all I got for today, y'all. Hope everybody has a great rest of their day, and maybe I'll do another one this week. I'm not sure. Anyway, bye.